All right. How's it going, Carlos?
What's up, everyone? What's up, Lee Mac?
Oh man, what's up, guys? Yeah, I'm over here greeting Carlos like I didn't greet him when I walked in here. Anyways, I'm a little tired, if you can't tell.
We're both very tired.
Very tired. You know, we working hard out here trying to bring you guys good content and make sure that we can afford to take care of business so that we can bring you guys good content.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's what we get up to out here. What did you get up to this last week?
This last week, this whole past 3 days, 3 or 4 days, I've been. My mom came up to visit, so we kind of took her around and about here. Kind of showed her the land of Nevada, and then also the forest area. Out there, the lakes and
like Tahoe and all that.
No, we actually did not go to Tahoe. I still haven't
really?
been to Tahoe. Yeah.
Dude, you got to go to Tahoe.
I feel
You live
yeah.
like 45 minutes away.
I mean, it was just like we drove far to a different lake, and then
Gotcha.
we're like, oh, we can go to Tahoe tomorrow, and I was like, dude, I'm kind of tired already. And
I mean, tomorrow's a new day.
no, you're right. I mean, I can go because I'm off this next Sunday and Monday, so we can probably do something if you're out too.
I might. Well, I am off Sunday. Yeah, we could probably do that.
Or maybe we'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see what
Maybe.
you make plans with the boys. You never.
And then nothing ever happens. It's like, yeah, I'm tired today. Speaking of tired, I am tired of funding Ukraine. It's a terrible segue, but actually,
Hey.
I didn't even say what I got up to this week. I basically have been just working. I worked both Saturday and Sunday last week doing some side job. Well, no, doing a side job on Sunday, doing regular work overtime on Saturday. Played some video games, which I haven't been doing in a very long time, but get some stress out, which really just stressed me out a little more because I played Call of Duty, and Call of Duty just like gets so many sweats, and I'm just trying to have a good time, level up some guns, and have some fun with the homies.
Bro, I have fun with that game so much, and it's so funny. I laugh when people take it so serious. No disrespect for those that take it like to the extreme. I get it.
I mean, if you're making money off of it, for sure. But if you're not making money off of it and you take it that seriously, no respect.
No, if you're good and you want your teammates to be just as good as you, but you suck, hey man, I'm sorry. I'm here for the laughs and the fun and shit.
Yeah.
Because I have 2 buddies. They're hella good, and I play with them. I'm like the fucking dummy of the fucking squad. But when I get into it and I get like more than 5 or 6 kills, then I'm like, all right, let's fucking do this. But by that time, everyone else is like just over it and they're not even trying. So then I get pissed. But
Yeah.
it's a fun game. I don't know.
It is.
It's hella funny.
I definitely no-lifed it during COVID lockdowns initially. It's a bad time. It was not a good time for me and my mental state. I don't know. I don't even know. My productivity is probably a better way of describing that. But yeah, speaking of war and war games and all that, go back to the bad segue of Ukraine and all the stuff that's going on over there. That's kind of what we wanted to cover today a little bit, was the fact that we might be entering World War III sooner than we thought. Well, no, it's about the timeline that I thought. Originally, I was thinking like 2024, 2025 is likely the timeline. If that's going to happen, it's probably when it's going to happen. It's going to be right after the election or right before the election. Maybe make some destabilization culturally, globally, politically, all of that, so that like everyone's scared. They use the fear tactics to influence the public, like we were talking about with MK Ultra. It's a lot. Actually, one thing that they found from MK Ultra and all the different mind control experiments they've done is that it's a lot easier to control a population if you keep them afraid and yearning for your protection and security. So that's a good thing. That's good to know. Don't let yourself be afraid of anyone but God. And yeah, anyways, so that's kind of what happened with COVID. Like everyone just was like, all right, I'm scared of getting the disease. Let me just give up my rights to the government and the people in power. But yeah, I think if there's going to be a World War III, which there's a real possibility that there won't be.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, what if it does become a possibility? Like, are you willing to join? Like, if you had to, like,
That's hard to say because, like, I'm going to do everything I can to not join because I really don't think, one, I'm not a supporter of the war in Ukraine because it's just not our business. We've been giving them way too much money. We have been instigating this, NATO specifically, which the U.S. essentially runs NATO. Like, not technically, but we're the most powerful country in NATO, and what we say goes. So we kind of run NATO. And what we have is NATO and BRICS. BRICS is, for the most part, non-NATO countries. BRICS is originally called BRICS because it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And that's a coalition of countries that was formed to try and begin a new coalition to go against NATO that would potentially supplant the U.S. dollar as a global reserve currency, because the U.S. dollar is, like, if any countries are going to trade between each other, they use the U.S. dollar as a trading currency. And BRICS is trying to start their own currency that's backed by gold that would essentially replace the U.S. dollar as the reserve currency. And that would be very bad for all of us, really. Like, I don't want that to happen, but at the same time, I understand why all these other countries are doing it, because the U.S. has kind of been a bully with a big stick in the world stage for a long time, really since World War II, since we dropped the bombs.
Was it Roosevelt? Big stick phrase? No?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
That is good history.
But yeah.
Yeah. The possibility, the reason we wanted to bring this up anyway is because earlier this week, a bomb was dropped on Moscow, and, you know, the U.S. has been heavily funding Ukraine. We have troops training Ukrainian troops, U.S. military personnel training Ukrainian personnel in Ukraine. So, like, let's say if someone was throwing rocks at your house.
We're basically at war.
Yeah, we're basically at war. We're funding the guys that are going against one of our biggest enemies from all of history. Throughout all of U.S. history and global foreign policy, Russia has been one of our biggest adversaries. We've had relatively decent trade relations. Same with China. Russia and China are our two biggest adversaries, and they've kind of teamed up. It's Russia and China versus everyone else almost, and I mean the rest of BRICS as well, but still.
Do you think Russia's kind of like holding back, or do you think it's like it's all bluff, and then like Ukraine pushing forward in that way, it's kind of showing how much they're actually bluffing?
I think that Russia probably isn't doing everything they could do, but everything they could do would kind of show their hand too early. I think Putin and Russian military are a little too smart to just like let their strongest cards play right now, because I think everyone knows that this conflict could very well be the thing that starts World War III. And if World War III does start from this, you don't want your best weapons, your best technology to be known on the battlefront immediately.
Okay.
Because then immediately, as soon as it's known, everyone starts making countermeasures against it, or just implementing their best weaponry immediately.
So they're waiting for a bigger attack.
They're waiting for a better opportunity to attack using their best technology. Like if all
If we
the
step in.
alien stuff coming out right now, like
God.
with all of that, whether or not there's actually aliens, I don't know. I'm on the side of it's a lot of distraction tactics. It's a lot of fear tactics against our enemies, because I think one thing that could be happening is that the U.S. is saying that we have this technology to kind of keep our enemies on their toes of like, okay, maybe aliens aren't real, but what are they hiding? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of technology do they have that, for all intents and purposes, looks like off-world technology that's never been seen? That's what, before we dropped the bombs in Japan at the end of World War II, no one knew that there was that kind of power, that kind of technology, that those bombs existed until we dropped the bombs. Yeah, we had testing going on in the States, but for the most part, it was all very classified and kept under strict classification. It was under wraps. Like, there was a very, very solid information block on our Manhattan Project. And so I think it's very possible that we have some technology that has not been publicized yet And part of the whole aliens are real thing, which maybe they are, maybe they aren't, I don't know, but I think it's more likely that our government is just seeding that information to keep everyone on the wrong track. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Putting out fake bait.
I see what you mean. That's crazy though. Like all this alien stuff coming out right now, and I find it funny
and the fact that everyone is like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, they're so whatever about it, and that's crazy. Even like, I mean, coming from a person that believes in God and all that stuff, just imagine how many people are be like, fooled like heavily. They're gonna be like, oh, well, damn, aliens exist and God doesn't exist. Then it's gonna be like they're the real like gods.
I don't think that they're
so?
mutually exclusive, honestly.
No, not even. But like, I mean, like, just the more and more of this comes out, it's gonna kind of like show us who, really is a believer and who isn't. And also, I'm not trying to make this into like a Bible study or anything, but like it's just gonna show, and it shows how easily people are fooled and how easily they're willing to give all their issues to something else that's higher power, I guess you can say.
Well, yeah, it's the human tendency to worship.
Exactly.
And that's what the whole idea of thou shalt not worship any gods but me. Thou shalt not make false idols. That those two commandments, I'm pretty sure that was either 2 commandments or 1 commandment in the 10 commandments. But regardless, those were commandments of God, as not making false idols and not worshiping other gods than him. Humanity has a tendency to worship, whether they recognize it as worship or not. Like a lot of political, people that are so polarized politically that are like super gung-ho for Trump or super gung-ho for Biden, whatever it is, that's a form of worship. That's like a form of idolization.
True.
People that are totally fascinated by the Kardashians and watch. I know we bring up the Kardashians all the time. They're just a really good example of what not to be. I think the Kardashians have contributed an insane amount to the destruction of society and culture as a whole in America.
Women.
And well, yeah, but society and culture as a whole in general, not just women, but them too. I think that people that idolize those types of figures, no matter who it is that you're idolizing, it's like you're putting your eggs in the wrong basket.
Exactly. Like actually, you reminded me of something. When my mom was here, we're actually watching like movies because she loves watching movies. So we're watching this movie. I just put it on. It was called Look Up.
Don't Look Up?
Is it Don't Look Up or is it Look Up?
Where it was the meteor that was falling from the sky?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't Look Up.
So, have you seen it? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, bro. It just explained how true our world is.
It was a great reflection of the actual political landscape that we live in today.
Like honestly, like the whole time I'm like, damn, people don't really care about this meteor that's gonna like literally kill the whole. And then halfway through the movie, I was like, after like watching what was going on, how the people reacted, how the news media reacted, how like the government reacted, it was like, maybe,
this is us.
Yeah, it was us. But then again, I was like, maybe the meteor would be the best thing that could ever happen to us.
I mean, that's
if it was too late,
more or less the end of the world. So it kind of reminds me of the story of, I believe it wasn't. Was it Jonah? I don't think it was Jonah.
The whale?
It wasn't Jonah. It was someone else. I can't remember. But anyways, a story in the Bible where God tells one of his best people that he needs to go and convince this city of people that are really, really on the wrong path. He needs to convince them that they're on the wrong path and that if they don't repent and turn to God, that their entire city will be destroyed. And he's like, okay, but what if there are 50 people that are good? Are you still going to destroy the city? God says, no, I won't destroy the city for the sake of 50 people. If there are 50 good people, I won't destroy the city. He's like, okay. And then he comes back and he's like, well, what if there's 40 people? And God says, well, I won't destroy the city for 40 people's sake. And then he comes back again. He's like, 30 people. and so on and so forth until they get down to 10 people. And if there's 10 people that are good, that are speaking the truth, that are living by God's word, that are doing all the right things, he won't destroy the city. And that just like, if the minority, the bare minority of people are willing to live by the right principles and speak the truth and try to do better for themselves and the people around them and really live by God's word, then we should still be okay as a whole.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what that also means is like, try to get more people to do right so that the whole city doesn't get destroyed because the majority is messing up.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And so like, that's why I'm, on the one hand, you know, I see stuff on Twitter or, well, X now, because Elon changed it to X. That's another thing that happened recently. Or Instagram or whatever, that I'm just like, man, we have fallen so far from God's grace.
What timeline
as a society? Yeah, what timeline are we in? But there's so many things that I see that I'm like, start the rapture. But at the same time,
just drop bodies, bro.
I mean, like, just start the rapture. You know, we can start this over, run it back, run it back.
Well, you know, it's funny though. In the movie, and then I was watching also a documentary about civilization and like all these like I like watching like conspiracy bullshit about pyramids and all this and that, and like ancient aliens. And they were saying that we are the sixth civilization to ever exist.
Sounds about right.
And you know, every civilization ends in a certain way. You know, it could be either by, you know, giant earthquake, you know, God with Noah, how he did the whole he flooded the whole world. And then like, you know, the meteor with the dinosaurs and stuff like that, you know. So we're like, I wonder what's expected for us, like what's going to happen with us in that sense, you know. Is it is it going to kind of like reset? Like, are we supposed to be destroyed to create something better? You know, kind of like gardening. A lot of people don't see it that way. I kind of
you prune the dead leaves so that the plant itself doesn't contribute more energy to trying to revive that dead leaf. It contributes all of its energy to the healthy fruit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot, and then that's some of the things I think about. Like, what if we're just like, you know, another plant in the dirt, in the soil? I mean, this earth, and we need to be chopped in order to regrow.
You got to separate the wheat from the chaff.
Exactly.
You got to prune the dead wood, and you will know them by their fruits. So we just got to be fruitful, you know?
Yeah.
Be fruitful and multiply. But yeah, so I think that there's a lot going on today that shows that we might be in the end times, honestly. But at the same time, it's entirely possible that we're just getting very close to what could be the edge, and we if we really work hard and really do our best to do the right things, whether you're religious or not, that we really can turn the society around, that we really can recover from where we're at, because we've recovered from pretty bad places. We're not quite where we were in World War II, where one country was completely eradicating one race of people, and really not even just one race of people, because it was the Jews, the Polish, and then anyone that wasn't Aryan, so white, blonde hair, blue eyes, and healthy. Because if you were old, dead. If you were if you were mentally challenged, dead. If you were, you know, anything but white, blonde hair, blue eyes, dead. So that's where Hitler was at that time, and that's what they were doing. So we're not quite there yet. I think it's entirely possible. Honestly, I have some thoughts as to ways that we might end up there that are things that we should be aware of in ourselves, because it's much easier for people to end up being, you know, the Auschwitz prison guard than they think. Most people think that they wouldn't be the Auschwitz prison guard, but most people would end up being the Auschwitz prison guard.
Oh yeah. I feel if someone takes away or like threatens to take away something from you, fuck, dude, your reputation. You don't think you'll switch up real quick? You'll be like, oh,
yeah, that's basically what it is. And what really people need to understand is that, like, once you have a certain level of comfort, or once you're living a certain lifestyle, and you see a potential for you to lose that lifestyle if you do one thing, but keep it if you do another thing. And both choices are, it's actually easier for you to do the thing that helps you keep the lifestyle. For example, if you are, let's say we're back in World War II, if you're not one of the targeted races or demographic of people, while you may disagree with what's going on, it's a lot easier for you to sit down, shut up, and just go with the flow than it is for you to stand up for what's truly right. And most people would much rather sit down, shut up, and go with the flow so that they can keep their lifestyle than the alternative.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like for a lot of people, it'd be tough.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, what do you think? You think you'd give up, or?
No, I wouldn't give up. I mean, like, look at COVID. Look at how people just like sold out completely to the government and were like trying to, a lot of people were reporting people for not wearing masks, reporting their friends being like, no, you can't come over because if you're not going to wear a mask, like there was just a lot of hysteria over COVID-19. They were silencing people that would say an alternative thing. I talked to someone that legitimately said to me, like, they were talking about their experiences with COVID and like how they couldn't visit their mom because of restrictions. Because I posted something on my Instagram and it was critical of COVID lockdowns and things like that. And this person replied saying that my post was heartless and blah, blah, blah. And I reacted with a laughing emoji because I thought they were being ridiculous. And then ended up escalating into a conversation where I was like, all right, please explain to me your perspective. And they sent this whole paragraph, and it was a lot of the talking points that most people that were like pro COVID lockdowns and they were, totally bought into the mainstream narrative. They were repeating a lot of the same talking points that I'd heard from pretty much everyone from the mainstream narrative, as well as people that just follow that. And at the end of this paragraph, they were like, and if that makes me a sheep, then I guess I'm a sheep. And I was like, how are you just, like, you recognize within yourself that you're being a sheep and you're okay with that?
You're on autopilot, bro.
I just could not imagine myself. And now, granted, my upbringing, I was raised in a household that was always questioning the narrative. They were listening to Alex Jones just to get a different perspective. They were talking about Monsanto and George Soros when I was in middle school. And I ain't really heard much about Monsanto and George Soros until a couple of years in the mainstream. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And not even necessarily mainstream, because I don't really listen to mainstream points of view. But I mean, even Joe Rogan, who is basically mainstream now, talks about George Soros and Monsanto. And my parents are talking about that when I'm in middle school. So like,
I remember that
10 years ago.
Yeah, that was a big deal back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and then some people were like, oh yeah, that's when the whole organic thing blew up.
Yeah.
And then like, Whole Foods
non-GMO.
became, yep. Whole Foods became a big thing. Trader Joe's became a big thing. And then, all these like cancer patients started connecting it with that, and everything you eat. And it's something crazy? I feel like history kind of repeats itself. Like,
definitely.
So that happened, right? Now we are having synthetic chicken.
Oh,
I don't know if you heard about that.
Yes.
That shit's crazy, bro.
Insane. Don't eat the fake chicken. Don't eat the fake beef. Don't eat anything fake. Don't eat the bugs, because they were talking about that for a minute, that like one day we'll live in pods and we'll get our protein from processed crickets, essentially, which also you don't want that, because the protein you get from bugs is a different type of protein that we don't have the necessary enzymes to digest. So you don't want to eat the bugs.
Exactly.
It's a keratin-based protein. I'm pretty sure it's because of the exoskeleton of a bug, it's a different type of protein, and you just don't want that because it doesn't digest. Whether eating bugs is healthy or not, which some people I've heard say that bugs are actually not bad for you, depending on, I don't know. I'm not eating bugs regardless.
You think it's the same with shrimp? You think it's like the same thing? Supposedly shrimp are the bugs.
No, because shrimp actually have like a meat to them, whereas bugs, it's like an exoskeleton and a bunch of juice.
Oh,
yeah, like they have organs, but it's like there's not as much nutrients. That being said, shrimp has a lot more mercury because they're more bottom feeders than that. So you don't want to eat too much seafood. You don't want to eat too much of anything, really. But, yeah, you can get some mercury poisoning from shrimp. But, no, shrimp is good. I'm pretty sure.
I ate a ton like this past weekend. Yeah.
Shrimp is fire. I love shrimp, taste-wise. But as far as health goes, I'm pretty sure it's relatively safe.
Oh, yeah, because I love shrimp. So it has to be good.
Of course. That's how we measure that.
Exactly. Go eat shrimp, guys. No, my lady's mom makes this like bomb ass like shrimp with like some sauce. She like mixes everything together.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, her sauce is so tasty, but so fire. It's like the type of like salsa that makes you want to just keep eating it, but at the same time it's just burning your mouth. Dude, every time they know me already. They're like, "Oh, Carl's gonna start sweating like in 5 minutes."
You gonna need some milk?
No, for real, dude. Like, I just started drenching in sweat, like in the back of my neck, sweating.
Man.
Like I was just drenched, and then
I'm gonna have to try this because I've gotten more and more into spicy foods and sauce and all that. So
I'm gonna have to bring you some.
Definitely.
Do they have like a salsa competition here? Like,
I know they have a wing fest out here.
Man.
They have wings and ribs. Those are the two. They have a wing cook-off that's actually coming up soon. I heard of it on the radio recently. And then they have the rib cook-off.
Dude,
that is.
Don't you pay like $80 and you can
Yeah, dude, a table at the rib cook-off. I heard last year it was like $120 for a table of 4 or something like that. I was like, Jesus.
For a table of 4?
For a table of 4, that's not that bad because like you split it up between all 4. That's not that bad. But I don't remember exactly how big the table was. I just, for some reason, table of 4, $120 sounds right.
Man, that sounds.
But it might have been less, might have been more. I don't know. I don't remember exactly because it was almost a year ago.
Bro, I might call off for that.
I wouldn't blame you.
I mean, that sounds bomb. I think it's
bring
on
our ladies out.
26, right?
Is it?
I think so.
I don't know.
We'll see.
We're gonna have to look into this. The rib cook-off. We might be there.
That day we're hitting legs, back, and chest.
We're gonna hit all 3 and then go to the rib cook-off. Make sure we get our protein in. That's gonna be a 6-hour workout because we go 2 hours each muscle group.
Exactly.
We're gonna get to the gym at 6, leave at 12, sleep for an hour, go to the rib cook-off, and just eat to our heart's content, and then sleep for 12 hours.
I like that.
That sounds like a good plan.
Some rich piano shit. This is a 3-hour arm workout. Oh my god,
Jesus, that dude is insane. But was insane. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Speaking of eating, working out, and just being a man, we gotta really get more on top of young men. Just like building up young men to be better. Like with everything that we're seeing happen in the world as far as the conflict in Ukraine, the possibility that we might have a draft. If we do go into World War III, that's one reason I wanted to bring it up, is because Biden approved the, the activation of ready reserves, like 3,000 troops to get ready to go to Ukraine, to prepare to go to Ukraine. And what that means is that if we are supplying more troops to Ukraine, Russia could very easily declare war on the U.S. We already know they're allied with China, and China has an interest to destabilize the U.S. even further than they already have with various little methods of buying farmland, which is confirmed. Another thing that's crazy, China has its own police force in New York City. In Chinatown.
Will you say that again?
Like, China has a police force in New York City's Chinatown.
I heard that too. And also
a foreign government has a police force on our soil. I understand that it's in predominantly Chinese neighborhoods, but national security dictates that you don't allow a foreign government to operate with law enforcement capabilities in your country. That's just not how things work. We're not a one-world government. We have our government, and it needs to be separate because we have certain laws and a certain culture that needs to be enforced in our borders, and they have a different culture. It's not that we can't, work together, but having another country's law enforcement and legal system within our legal system compromises our legal system. It's not a game we want to play.
That's wild. That's like, that's just having them have a pawn.
It's
in our
like
chessboard.
It's like if you own a house and have a family, and then another man comes into your house and tries to tell your kids what to do.
Yeah, I know.
That's not happening. That's not cool. We can be friends, but you're not telling my kids what to do.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Is he good?
No, he's good. He's just, how you got stung in his
Oh,
throat,
yeah,
so he
yeah.
has trouble swallowing.
Carlos's
sometimes.
dog got stung in the mouth by a bee.
He's not allergic. He's fine.
So that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
small little bite. I saw it already. We
good.
gave him Benadryl.
Oh, nice.
This kind of worries me.
He's not comfortable. I'll tell you that much.
We treated him already. We talked to a vet.
That's good.
But no, yeah. So back to the draft thing.
Yeah. So it's entirely possible that there will be a draft. I'm gonna do my best to not be a conscientious objector. But when it comes to World War III, because the last draft that we had, I believe, was Vietnam, we had some famous cases of conscientious objectors. That would be Muhammad Ali, also known as Cassius Clay, before he changed his name. And there was a big controversy about Muhammad Ali not wanting to go to Vietnam because he was a conscientious objector because he's a boxer. And they were like, how can this guy who is a boxer for a living, literally fights for money, be a conscientious objector to war? And that was their argument. And his argument was, this country hasn't done anything for me. Like, this was also during the height of the Civil War movement. That's why he named himself Muhammad Ali, because his name was Cassius Clay beforehand.
I know that.
And this was when Malcolm X was a big deal. This was when the Black Panther Party was a big deal. So, like, him being a conscientious objector and then changing his name to Muhammad Ali, that was actually, I believe, one of the reasons he did change his name, to give more legitimacy to the idea that he was a conscientious objector. But anyways, there are ways to avoid getting drafted legally. There are illegal ways to dodge the draft. I honestly have not decided whether or not I would dodge the draft, partly because if we get invaded, I'll fight for the country.
Oh, facts.
Which I doubt we would get invaded. Second, war is going to be very different. World War III would be very different from any war we've ever fought. Albert Einstein is famously quoted as saying, I know not what weapons World War III will be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Because whatever technology we have right now, if that gets used in another world war, whatever comes next is going to be just society. Like, World War III will destroy all of humanity and society, is what he was trying to say. And then World War IV would be, we're, back to caveman times.
Oh, yeah. Back to the times where I belong. You know what I'm saying?
Same, though.
No, but I guess the draft is like 18 through 26, 25, 26.
Yeah, if we're actually in World War III, they're going to up that age.
Oh, in today's time? Yeah.
Yeah, no, they would definitely up that age limit. I'm pretty sure even in Vietnam, they were drafting up to 30 years old.
Bro,
and
definitely
in World War II. In World War II, I think they drafted even older than 30. It really comes down to what do we need and what is the quality of the base that they're pulling from. Because if the base that they're pulling from is 18 to 26, we already know that there's a lot of 18 to 26-year-old young men and women that are just not up to par when it comes to physical capabilities, discipline, willingness to put in work. Discipline. They're just not, they're not capable. They're pussies, to be quite frank. So the chances that 18 to 26 would be enough for us are just very slim to none. Yeah. So they'd probably draft up into the 30s.
Oh, definitely.
And that would also mean they would draft more people, because let's say if there's, if 40% of the population is garbage, then they're going to have to draft more people. So let's say they need 10,000 people, and 40% of that 10,000 is just not up to par to their standards. What they're going to end up having to do is draft, I think, 16,000 people, because let's see, what's 60% of 16,000? It's What's 16 times 6? Do you know?
96.
96?
I think so.
Is that it?
No, 92.
No, I think you're right. It is 96. So we would need to draft about 16,000 people. That would be 9,600 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, yeah, 60% of 16,000 would be 9,600, right?
I believe so, yeah.
So if 40% of the people we draft are terrible, the other 60% are up to par. So instead of drafting 10,000, which is what they might need, we would have to draft 16,000 and some change to make that 10,000 number of 10,000 quality troops.
You know who you should
and then
send
the extra
first?
6,000 would just be, cannon fodder.
We should send the first group that says that America has no freedom.
Yes, the people that voted for Biden, people that say America's the worst country in the world. That being said, they'd probably just defect, which at the same time, I mean, like, take them. They're probably soy boys. Not really. That's really pessimistic. I don't want to be cynical like that. But at the same time, like, America is one of the greatest countries in the world. Probably is the greatest country in the world. There's a reason so many people want to live here. As far as freedom goes, when it comes to the Constitution and the rights that we are given, because the Constitution was written to say these rights that people have are given by God, and the government is here to protect those rights. Most people think that the government gives us rights. That is not the case whatsoever. We have rights because God gave us rights, and that's another problem of removing God from society, is that people forget that our rights are God-given, because if there is no God, then government gives us our rights, because that's the next highest power in a society, I guess. Not really, but yeah. Anyways.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So we just need to really, really do our best to make ourselves the strongest that we can possibly be, so that, when the proverbial shit hits the fan, we can be prepared for whatever happens.
Definitely.
That's why we're in the gym. That's why we eat healthy. That's why we study politics and history and math and English and be able to communicate well, all of these different things to better ourselves as people, because you don't know what the next day is going to throw at you. But you do know that you need to be prepared for as much as possible so that you can make it to the day after that.
Exactly. Learn how to survive in extreme climates. I feel like a lot of times we're in such a big comfort zone. You got the AC running all the time. It's funny. I walk my dog every once in a while, and I hear all these AC units kind of going like at their highest potential, just working day and night just to keep you satisfied. Mm-hmm. And then something comes to my mind all the time is that it's like we've been living comfortable for too long.
Well, yeah, that's why there's so much political and societal instability.
And like all these other countries, like foreign countries that are like suffering, living in extreme heats, not having clean water. Like, I'm not saying they're jealous. I'm just simply saying it's like, bro, like, enough is enough. Like, when is our turn to win? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not that they're jealous. It's part of the reason that we have issues is that people are ungrateful for what we have. Mm-hmm, We've been so comfortable that the human being, which naturally is built to overcome problems and obstacles, because there are so few problems and obstacles for us to really be concerned with, we create problems and obstacles. Some people do that productively, and that means finding problems and obstacles that still exist despite all of the good things that we have. Those are people that start businesses that, make great change in the world. Amazon is a pretty good example of that. Made it really easy for us to get whatever we wanted within 2 days. Mm-hmm. That's one type of finding a problem and doing something about it. And then there are other people that look at things that are problems and just complain about it and don't really try to do much or provide solutions or really, yeah, that's pretty much it. They don't really try to do much or provide solutions. And that's a consequence of having an easy life relative to what human beings are generally experiencing before, 150, 200 years ago. Life was so much more difficult 100 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck getting anything in the mail within 2-3 days.
It's not happening.
Getting to one place to another place within hours,
dude,
or minutes.
If you guys really want a humbling understanding of what life was like when America was being settled, look at the show 1883. It's the prequel to Yellowstone. That show, 1883, it's basically just a show about walking the Oregon Trail, trying to go from, I believe, in the show they were in like Louisiana or Tennessee or something, and they were trying to get to Oregon. And so many people died of all kinds of different things, whether it was a snake bite, whether it was river water that had cholera, or just other people trying to take their stuff because it was a caravan of wagons that was traveling along the trail, and there were robbers, looters, and people that just wanted their stuff to sell it and make money. It was the Wild West. And really seeing that, because that's exactly what a lot of people went through to try and make a new life for themselves. It's a very humbling experience watching that show, understanding what people really went through to settle this country.
I'm going to have to watch it then.
It's a really good show. It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Yeah. 1883. There's a sequel to, so basically, show Yellowstone came out, which is about a family that has a ranch in Yellowstone. And they are trying to defend this ranch from being taken by just other people that want their land, because they have like 2 million acres or some crazy number like that. And there's the state wants to build an airport on their land. Someone else wants to build a casino on their land. There's like all these people that want other things out of their land, but they're like, no, this is our land. First off, the family that owns the land is doing a much better job of maintaining that land and what's the word? Shepherding the land, taking care of the land.
Yeah.
You know, because like it looks the same way it did the day they got there, pretty much. I mean, there's a house, a barn, and fences for cattle, but otherwise that's it. Like, it's mountainous Yellowstone land. So they are taking care of the land in a much better way than these people that want to build a casino or an airport or whatever. So there's also like environmentalist that wants to mess with the family because they're like, oh, it's wrong that you guys own all of this land. It should be given back to the people, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, if it gets given back to the people, it's going to be much easier for the airport builders and the casino builders to come in and take the land too. So the environmentalist gets schooled. Anyways, that's besides the point. Yellowstone, that's what that show's about. And then there's a prequel show of the family that when they originally got to that land. That's what 1883 is about, them getting to the Yellowstone Mountains. And then 1923 is the sequel to 1883, but still the prequel to Yellowstone. And more developing the backstory of this family, the Dutton family that owns the Yellowstone Ranch.
I'm going to have to watch that then.
It's a very good show.
Sounds good.
Very good show. You can learn a decent amount about American history because they keep things relatively true to the real history.
Okay. Definitely.
Yeah. Fictional family set in actual America, basically. Really good show. Really, really good show. Worth the watch. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else that you wanted to mention?
No, man. Besides, now Americans need to have their own visa to be able to travel to Europe.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So,
I mean, besides a passport?
Yes. So in order to go to Europe, you now have to basically like apply or like you're going to be charged $8 to travel to Europe. Like the whole process, kind of like a visa to travel to Europe.
I've never been to Europe, so I didn't know if that was new or if that's new. That's new.
Starting 2024.
So it's like if it's just a tourist visa kind of thing?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because normally it was people had to have visas to come here. Exactly.
And
interesting.
It's funny because this is where I kind of get my news from here, but some legit stuff.
It's very interesting how news media has changed, where we're getting all of our news from social media as opposed to the news traditionally, which I think is actually great because it opens the door for little people to start building a following, producing news.
U.S. citizens require paid visa for traveling to Europe from 2024, and it's true.
Interesting.
Personally, I thought the U.S. was going to challenge it because that's what gives us the passport power to our country. That's why we are really high valued. But this kind of opens the door to like have the U.S. open to anyone now.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion.
I honestly don't know much. I don't know enough about the visa system to really have an opinion on whether or not that's good or bad. But it seems like it's just equalizing the playing field because people had to have visas to come here.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it kind of makes sense that we would have to have a visa to go elsewhere. But if another country doesn't have that precedent or that policy in place, then I guess that makes sense that we wouldn't need one. You know, like
Right.
it's just policy here that if you're going to be here and you're not a citizen, then you have to have a visa of some sort, whether it's a work visa, a tourist visa, or whatever. So that makes sense.
Then again, it's a lot more safety or protection, I guess you could say. They really want to know why you're coming here, where you're from, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
In case.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's good because like there are a lot of Americans that have ended up in countries that are a bit unstable, and then like all they have is a passport. They don't have any identification for why they're there.
Exactly.
You know, and you know if you're in my house and you don't have a reason for being there, then I'm not going to trust anything you say. Like
Exactly.
if I don't know why you're there, you saying you're there for one reason or another isn't really going to be all that much of a. I'm not going to take your word as seriously as I might if you had some, you know, if you had a warrant kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, like, oh, what brought you out here?
Yeah.
Well, killed someone. You know, I want to enjoy the life out here. Find me.
Basically. But yeah, that's interesting. That's good to know. I will keep that in mind if I ever decide to go to Europe.
Yeah, it's kind of shitty for me now.
Yeah, because you have a Europe trip planned.
Yeah, I mean, that's like 2 months, and then
$8 and a little bit of time.
I mean, yeah,
figure that out.
Yeah, I mean that's till next year though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 2024. So once that starts, you know,
Yeah.
if I end up going again in May, because it's a plan my lady and I want to do.
Nice.
You guys are always welcome.
I will. I'll see about that. That'd be fun for sure.
The sooner, the cheaper. I'll tell you that
absolutely.
for sure.
The sooner I decide, definitely the cheaper.
Yeah,
like plane tickets and all of that. Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see where we're at. We'll see what war we. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if we go to war or not.
Yeah, no kidding. Because you know.
You know how shitty it would be if I ended up going over there
and then war starts and you're stuck.
Yeah,
that'd be terrible.
Fuck.
That happens to a lot of people when war breaks out.
That sounds like a freaking like love story, especially for my woman. You know, I come back and there's like big black dude waiting for me. Like, well, what are you doing here?
That sounds like a terrible. That doesn't sound like a love story at all. It sounds like the end of a love story. It's a tragedy, dog.
Carlos, I thought you had died.
That's a tragedy, not a love story.
I was gone for 2 weeks, so relax.
Relax. 2 weeks? She already got a new man?
She has a family and everything.
Yo, I got news. That family was there before you.
Yeah.
If it's only been 2 weeks and she got a family, yeah, bro, you were missing out on some signs.
I'm just messing. No, imagine. No, how shitty would that be if I go to some other country and then some shit happens and then we're stuck there for like 2-3 years.
An adventure.
What would
be
you
terrifying?
Do? Like no contact because all the like lines and everything are done. Like,
I mean, I'm gonna try and survive. That's really what it is.
Yeah,
like, what is it gonna come down to? It's just survival.
Well, true, facts. I mean, yeah, obviously that's like the obvious, but you come back and then it's like your girl is like just forgot about you because she thought you died or something.
Well,
That's fine.
I'd send that nigga to war. No, I don't know what I would do. That would be a situation that would be very difficult to deal with for sure. That would be a tough situation. I'd definitely either stake my claim and be like, come back, or just be like, all right, you got a new man. I get it. You thought I died, so I'll just move on. I don't know.
Go back to my German.
My German side piece.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm trying to go to Ukraine so I can get me a PPSH and an STG 44. That's really what I want out of. Yeah, I might sign up for the drive. I might sign up to go.
I thought you were gonna say an STD. I was like, whoa.
No. STG 44. That's like an old World War II machine gun. Like it's basically a rifle, an assault rifle from World War II. And it's just like it's a classic. I would frame it and put it on a wall. Same with the PPSH. They're just like classic old school guns that look good because they just designed stuff different back then. For those that
everything.
know, but like I know that there's standard issue in Ukraine to like Ukrainian soldiers. They're getting PPSHs and STG-44s, which is awesome. Kind of like a testament to engineering even back in World War II, because that's how old those guns are. They were built for World War I and II. Believe I don't remember exactly when the STG-44 or the PPSH came out, but I'm pretty sure they were predominantly just World War II. I don't know if they were out in World War I yet. But there's some cool looking firearms. I like them. They're definitely collector's items. Like to buy one in the States, like 30 grand.
Jesus.
Easy. But they're standard issue out in Ukraine. So,
Oh, really?
I might have to figure out some smuggling type of stuff. I don't know.
What's in your ass?
What's in your ass? Just send piece by piece. The last piece is the barrel all the way up there.
God. Shit stuck. Yeah.
I mean, you just take the stock off because it's a wooden stock. Like, how many parts are absolutely necessary that you have to send in the mail or some other way? How many parts are what do you have to do to get one over? Like, how could you break that down to make it easier? I don't know. We're not going to talk about that because we're going to get canceled if we do that. But
SWAT team just rushes in.
I know we're going to get FBI open up. What do we have that? I don't know if we have that. Anyways, I don't think we have the FBI open up.
We should definitely have that.
We should have that one. I don't know why we don't. But anyways, I think it's been about almost an hour.
Yeah, definitely.
And we covered some good ground. You know, be a man and watch out for World War III and try and live the best life you can and not be one of the many that will end up in Sodom and Gomorrah, because that's what
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now. It wasn't Sodom and Gomorrah because Sodom and Gomorrah ended up actually burning. This was a different story that was before Sodom and Gomorrah.
Is it the one where everyone turned into salt?
No, that was also Sodom and Gomorrah.
Okay.
So in that story, I believe it was Jacob and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Angels came to them and were, talking to them. And then the city, they basically banged on the doors and they were like, let us know these men, which in the Bible, when they say to know someone, they mean they're having sex. The city, basically, there was a riot. There was a mob outside trying to rape the angels I shouldn't have said that word. Trying to grape the angels because they were very attractive, obviously, because they're angels. And Jacob actually offered one of his daughters instead because they were guests and, there's hospitality type traditions. And then the angels blinded the mob because they were, being crazy. And then when Jacob and his wife and family fled the city while they were riding away in their wagon, his wife turned to look at the city because I guess she missed it or something. I don't remember exactly what the message there is don't cling to something that's so evil. Cling to the past of things that should be left behind. And she was turned into a pillar of salt on the spot.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I remember, this is don't look back, and this woman turned back.
She turned back. She had some heartstrings in the city. She probably had a fling. She was cheating on him.
Definitely.
I don't know. I don't really know. But anyways,
Girls be doing that.
Yeah, that do be happening.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But anyway, let's call it there, guys. It's been a good episode. All right.
Thanks for joining us again, guys.
Absolutely. As we try to solve the world's problems in a podcast.
Exactly.
All right. It's been Some Young Guys. I'm Lee Mack.
I'm Carlos.
And we will see you next time. Peace.